Good evening and welcome to In the Basement, the only show bringing you the latest news from inside my house. As always, I'm Cam Messenger, live from my parents' basement. Our top story tonight, walk postponed. Sources suggest that we've been considering taking a family walk today, a welcome change from the individual walks we've all been taking to get away from each other. However, as the time slot for the scheduled walk approached, one thing became clear. Dad wasn't into it, and it wasn't happening. No word yet on whether or not this walk will be rescheduled, but if I were you, I wouldn't count on it. Also breaking right now, we're out of grapes. You might recognize these particular grapes from last week's test kitchen tutorial on how to make frozen grapes. Take a look.
First you wash them off, or they taste like butt. Then you run with them over to the freezer so that you don't drip water on the floor, and then you shove them in the freezer so they freeze, and that's it.
Earlier, the grapes were spotted in the kitchen, but now, unfortunately, they seem to have been eaten. No lead as to who might have done this, although, since the dog is still alive, I think he can safely be ruled out as a suspect. We also learned, earlier this morning, that local neighbors here on Sherwood Drive have formed a walking group. Take a look.
They were out there before. I missed them. That's my bad.
Just trust me, they were there. Anyways, my mom's pissed because she wasn't invited to go walking with them, although, since they weren't walking 6 feet apart, it can safely be assumed this is better off anyways. Fucking petri dishes. Tensions ran high today in the Messenger house, as for the first time all week, our family attempted a group lunch. But, from the start, it seemed to be a doomed endeavor. First, Mom made salads with some leftover romaine, the known loose cannon of the leafy greens. And, unfortunately for some, my salad appeared to have more chicken on it than my dad's, a fact that was suggested several times to be the result of a kitchen quid pro quo. Now, more sad news to report tonight as well. Spirits were high earlier in the Messenger house, as we learned late this afternoon that dinner would not, in fact, be leftovers again. The promise of something other than the cold Passover brisket sent palpable excitement through the household. Sadly, however, I've just been given word that tonight's dinner, while promising, and fresh, will include cauliflower rice. This is a significant retraction from an earlier press statement from Mom, promising pizza. When asked for comment, Dad could not be reached, but he's been pretending to nap for an hour now, so that's comment enough. On a lighter note, here in the Messenger household, surprisingly, only one of us is on Prozac. He's white, beefy, and obviously the most interesting member of the family. I present him to you now in a segment we like to call, What's the Dog Doing?
All he does is stare at me.
Classic Harley. Can you tell he's adopted? Moving on. There have been but few reliable constants during this time of pandemic. Here in the Messenger household, like both the airport and the DMV, you can always count on the TV to be playing CNN. If it's on air, it's on. Today, for once, CNN taught me something new. Take a look.
Reframing self-care to be making sure that whatever it is you need in that moment is what you get, whether that's going for a run or doing yoga or just sort of staring out the window and kind of disconnecting for a little bit, letting yourself feel permission.
Well, per usual, it looks like they might be full of shit. Now, for a change, let's take a look at the weather outside. For this, we check on the hammock underneath the house. What's up with the hammock?
Well, it looks windy, so there's that.
Well, many people are passing quarantine through the escapism of TV. Here in the Messenger house, perhaps more so than others. Earlier, we caught up with our senior binging correspondent, who recently rediscovered Curb Your Enthusiasm, a refreshing change from his normal World War II documentaries. Take a look.
Dad, how's Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Pretty good.
For those of you who wonder whether all old Jewish men are the same, that absolutely shit impression of Larry David should give you your answer. Sound of the alarm on the front door means my dad has taken the dog for his post-dinner poop. That means I've got a narrow window to get upstairs and grab the remote before he comes back. So, from my basement to yours, thanks for watching.